Hello, Chipirins. Tonight I'm bringing to you a deep conversation, a spontaneous one. And I was inspired by a movie that I watched last night. It's been really cold here in New York. I think it was like maybe, I don't know, 18 degrees, 15 degrees. It's like minus 15 Celsius at approximately probably around 18 Fahrenheit. And it felt nice. I had a long day working, and then I've been wanting to watch the movie It Ends With Us. And for that, the reason for that is I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. And one of the reasons is because I have experienced domestic violence. So, I was kind of nervous and scared to watch it. Um, there were like a lot of emotions, right? But I said, no, I have to watch this movie. It wasn't last night. I just said when it came out, I was like, I have to watch this movie. And my first thought of the movie, first, I don't think it's as heavy as people talk about it. Um, I think the story is told pretty lightly, at least for me as a person who's very deep and I feel a lot of emotion and passionate and yeah, expressive. For me, I think the movie was very much lightened up to make it interesting so anyone could watch it. Um, and I do think there is a big part of the movie that talks about, like, yeah, you could watch this with your girlfriends. And I don't know if you would have a glass of wine with it. First of all, I don't drink, but just thinking the mood wise, I would probably have like tea or just have my girlfriends there. Also, it's good to watch it with your partners. I strongly recommend you do that. I didn't do that because my husband fell asleep way before I even started the movie. So, what I want to talk about is that Blake Lively is back in the news. And originally, when I heard people talk about her, I wanted to give my 2 cents. First of all, I'm not somebody, I actually barely know anything about her. I'm not like a fan of hers or anything like that. I do think she does a really good job acting. And in this movie, she did it in her own way, but she did a good job. Um, yeah, in her own way, of course, but I think she did a good job. Um, and I understand that this woman clearly has things to work on, specifically around who she's in the world, how she treats herself, and how she treats others, because I think the way we treat others is really the way we treat ourselves. I also don't want to dismiss that if she says that she has insecurities, that it's most likely true. We can't say that she doesn't. A lot of people assume she doesn't because of her background, and your background has very little to do with how secure you are with yourself. I don't know her relationship with her mother, how it is with her father. Um, though it does look like she had a lot of support throughout her career, which is beautiful. We all should be having that, right? But not all of us get to have that. And what I saw from what I read, and I read a while ago, right? I also saw a lot of people really taking advantage of the situation to just make themselves victims, because I don't think anyone is a saint. No one in this world is a saint. Even if they're labeled as one, I don't think they are. And we all have responsibilities to play. I also think it's super important on I saw like this girl that was interviewing her, and she really was not sensitive to her situation or whatever she was dealing with. And what I saw watching that interview, I saw like Blake was just not understanding the situation. I don't think she was connecting to it. And I thought that the person interviewing her was expecting so much, expecting for her to be the compassionate, the pity, that like compassion and pity, in my opinion, are two different things. But I just felt, just by watching and what I see going on in the internet by this particular person, I don't even know her name, to be honest. I don't know who she is. I don't remember her name because I haven't watched everything that she shared. But what I did see is that she was desiring so much to be seen, to be heard for the struggle she was going through. And I do think that it would have been very nice for Blake to acknowledge that and to be there with her for a moment. In the end of the day, that's not her responsibility, right? Like, we are responsible for our emotions and the experiences that we're going through. Um, and that said, by any means, I think she, how do I put this? By any means, I think she's right. No, I think clearly this woman has so much to work through, as specifically since with this movie she's standing into this role of a strong woman, a successful woman who does not allow setbacks to keep her from creating the life that she deserves for herself and her family, and for her to be a trendsetter, to start a completely different lifestyle, like leaving an abusive relationship. And a lot of women who will be watching or who have watched this movie will for sure remember her and remember this role. And I think that we as human beings have a great responsibility to grow and to heal whatever insecurities we have, whatever traumas we have. And most of them don't happen overnight, they take a lifetime. So I do ask you, Blake Lively, if you ever see this video. And I was gonna go and be so negative. I doubt it. But hey, who knows, right? You never know. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit here because that's what I'm working on, appreciating myself and everything that I do. And yeah, I hope that you learn the most that you can and that you come on the other side stronger and show us a side of you we have never seen before, because we all have that side of ourselves. Me, for example, doing these YouTube videos, doing the lives, I'm starting to show a part of myself that I think I've even hidden from me. And then if somebody has seen it, they have seen a glimpse of it, but they haven't like seen that full, powerful Miljana that she can be in this world and really accomplish what she came here to do. So, um, do want to talk about a couple of things. First, I want to talk about how this movie is actually one of the most gross, mm, grossing movies in of the 2024, right? Of 2024. And to me, that a woman who clearly has things to work on is not being acknowledged for the work that she's doing, but she's only being torn down for the things that she didn't do or she should do or she did, that a lot of people think is the wrong thing to do. If we were to take and switch roles and put a man in this particular case, I guarantee you we would mention it, right? But we wouldn't be tearing him down. We would talk about the great roles he has done and what that means for him now that this came out, and that he needs to work on himself. I'm also 100% sure people would be talking about, is he doing the work to fix this up? Like, well, for the woman, it's like, oh, she's done. Oh, um, she's just not good for society. And for this movie to talk about such a sensitive topic and to have a woman like Blake Lively be the main character, to also have, in my understanding, a husband by her side who I think is very supportive, Don't know them, don't live with them. I also heard rumors that maybe he isn't so good to her. I don't know, right? But he is somebody who's in the industry, and his movie Deadpool is also a movie that is topping the box offices around the world. For us to be tearing her down and not talking about how important this movie is to society, to shifting, um, for giving women examples, real examples of, and even though I know this is I think this movie is a fiction, it doesn't matter. The movie could easily be based on real life because whatever happens in the movie is very similar, very likely to happen in real life. You know, having daddy issues, seeing your mom being abused. Um, and then when I say daddy issues, I'm saying that particular reason of seeing dad abuse the mom. That already is an issue, is a big problem. And then her leaving, and the mom saying, "Oh, how dare you leave? You had such a good job. I would have died to have that job of yours." But nonetheless, she chose to leave and take a risk and create a life away from that past experience, and also having someone by her side, a man who clearly from the beginning they supported each other, right? She saw something in him. She gave him a support as a kid, very innocently helping him out. That created a deeper connection for the two of them that is clearly lasting a lifetime. They went separate ways, but that connection, that bond never broke. And also, like, talking about how she doubted herself, this man consistently is pushing himself on her, and it's very obvious. She's very clear what she wants. She gives in on this toxic persistence by, in this case, Baldoni. I forget what was his Riley, right? Ryle or Ryle. That's his character name. And for her to give in into something that she knows from the beginning is not the right thing, right? And for her to speak up so confidently from the beginning, and this is exactly what happens. These type of men do like strong women because they can break them down. That's what they do. They break them down, and then the woman kind of feels like she's trapped, like she can't get out, like she would be worse if she gets out, or she has kids, so now she stays for the kids and thinks that it's better for the kids, if the father is around. But the truth is, if the father wants to be around, he's going to find a way to be around, whether you stay with him or you don't. So in reality, that's not true. But it's also a lot more challenging for women to find work, to even nowadays. Okay, and I'm speaking as a woman who is independent, who has a job. Oh my god, like, for us it's still very much more difficult to find work that would support us in a way that we need to support ourselves. um because the work that's available out there, it's mostly made for men, and to support their lifestyles, and to support their thinking and their strategy, the way they live. Excuse me. And there's very few jobs still in today's world where a woman can be woman. A woman can be woman. And that, it's sad for me, right? It's also sad when people say that, oh, she's faking it. She's just very confident. There's no way, um, like, Lively isn't feeling confident about her body or how she is. Well, let me put it to you this way. There is plenty of actresses, or plenty of who have come and spoke about their insecurities, and a lot of people still don't believe them. And I'm gonna name just a couple of them that are coming to mind that are very famous. all around the world, and one of them is Megan Fox, Scarlett Johansson, and I would say also this is a person who is not with us anymore, but like Marilyn Monroe, I think is also a really good example how these women, they all struggled so much with or specifically her. She came from this environment where it was difficult for her to know how to love herself if she was constantly in foster homes, and in a lot of them she wasn't being treated right. So I'm not saying that Blake Lively had the same life by any means. I'm just bringing women that we are looking up to when we think they're great looking, and then uh, we know probably many of us are saying like, how can she be insecure when she's who she is that we know of? And the truth is, yes, we all, no matter what our backgrounds are, no matter what our roles are, what careers we have, we all have insecurities. And that's another really big part that I want every single one of you listening and watching this video to really connect to that part of yourself, and to do your best to love yourself as you are, and to remind yourself that if you have something that you're insecure about yourself, that is okay. It's natural. You're gonna have insecurity just like everybody else does. The only thing that you can do is explore, get information about, oh, when did this start for me? Why do I have this insecurity? And the most important is, out of all of them, is how do I improve? How do I heal this part of me? How do I create a new version of myself and build confidence around this area? Whether it's, like something physical, whether it's something that you think you're not, I don't know, smart enough, or you're not worthy, or all these things are a result of something that has happened to you. And it could also be a result of something that has happened in the family for generations. And this movie, it ends with us. It's a really good example how something could be repeating from a mother to a daughter. And even if that's not what she necessarily wants, somehow she attracts this person because that's what she's programmed to. She allows this person in her life, and she might even be surprised, like, how did I get here? Which happens a lot. And I think, and I remember, I forgot her. What's Blake's Lively role in the movie? I keep saying Blake Lively, but it's obviously not her. It's the role that she's playing. Um, oh, Lily Bloom. This woman, I see her as confident. I see her knowing exactly what she wants. I do see her doubting herself, right? Which is normal to happen, but I see her in action. And that is a very powerful, confident woman. Even if she has insecurities, she's still confident because she takes action around her dreams and what she wants. I see her allow herself be taking off her pad because of certain things that seem promising, right? Also, the fact that she covers for him, and I'll be honest, when I watched the first scene, I really didn't, and this is a spoiler for all of you who didn't see it but want to see it. I actually didn't see the part of her being hit. Like, I even went back because I was watching it at home, right? So I can rewind and go back. Oh my God. Releasing whatever is coming up for me. I did not see it. I did not see her being physically abused. The interesting part, though, is that her first love, her ex, her friend, because clearly they're more than just lovers, they're also friends, um, saw the typical behavior of a woman who's been abused, who stands up and she says, well, it's just an accident. It was just an accident. Like, really, it was just an accident. But then with time, she realizes, no, none of these things were accidents. Um, and she starts to realize, to open her mind and her eyes, that she could be repeating the same lifestyle as her mom, which she doesn't believe, because she says, I always said I was never gonna be her. But she ends up being her until she chooses a different path. The other thing is that um, a lot of times I find that as women that end up in this type of relationships might actually have guy friends around us, good guy friends, but they're just friends. They're like in this friend zone, right? Because we don't realize the how good they are to us, and we might end up asking for help. And I'm not saying that every single guy friend that you have is actually into you. There's actually good men out there who might find you to be beautiful, confident, all these things, but they like this guy, right? um what's his name? I think Atlas, right? Like Atlas, in my opinion, is a man that you don't really find often in life, where he would respect you till the end, right? He will be super respectful. He will not cross any boundaries. He will even create boundaries himself to make sure that you're taken care of and respected fully all the time, and that you're not taken advantage of. And I like that, because I don't think we have many examples like that of men in life. I'm not saying that there's one part that I necessarily didn't agree, but I do understand that is the story and there's a deeper message behind it. The fact that he didn't have a girlfriend and he lied, and clearly he was waiting for her. And I'm not saying that a man needs to sit there and wait for a woman to get out of her phase, or like to discover who she really has by her side. No, I think a man needs to live his life and, yeah, continue living his life and find the one for himself. In this case, the one was Lily, and Lily was the one for him, and he knew that. I think the whole time. Uh, though I don't think, like, how do I say this? I feel like he knew, but at the same time, he wasn't imposing on it. He was kind of like, okay, well, if it happens, it happens. Um, and he eventually gets honest with her and says, hey, I know there was nobody else. It's just my restaurant, basically. Like, his restaurant, he was doing something with his life that he really loved. And he put so much love into it. And I think that's the reason why he was number one in Boston of the businesses that made the list of top 10. And I think this also shows that this man is very much secure and grounded in who he is. And he does that with so much love and details and dedication. And I also think this is something that we also lack in our life. Men, a lot of times, are disconnected from this part of themselves that is very deep. They're not allowed, they don't show emotions. They feel like they need to act in a specific way in this toxic masculine, when in reality they don't have to. They can be strong and show emotions. They can be strong and make a meal and cook and clean and take care of others, right? And they can still be in their masculine, but in a healthy masculine. um and a woman can make her own money and take care of others, um while taking care of herself and still being her feminine, right? And I also think this is something that we don't hear a lot. In fact, there is some personal development coaches or people I have come across who separate these two so strongly, and they would teach the men and say, well, if your wife makes more money than you do, then you're not into your masculine, because you should be making more money than her. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Like, this is a different conversation, this is a different topic, but I wanted to touch base on that because I think it's important for all of us to understand that being grounded, being healthy, or like having strong awareness and consciousness, because I don't think anyone is 100% healthy. We all have things to deal with. We all have traumas. Life is not easy. It's more about how we deal with it and how we heal and how we make things happen, the actions that we take that lead us to a certain result. Um, so yeah, and I do want to touch on one more thing. This is turning into a long life, but that's okay. I love talking to all of you here. And I know there maybe not be many people watching it, but the few that watch it, I'm grateful, and I really hope it makes a difference to you. Okay, so the actor, and I watched this movie last night. I didn't know this was happening. Apparently, and I saw it right before doing this live. I like quickly looked up the movie because I wanted to see where it was doing in the box office, and I think it's number 14 in the world for 2024. And wow, that's an accomplishment, especially for a movie who is bringing awareness to a situation that we really need to deal with. Oh, actually, I thought about one more thing that I want to talk to you about, and then I'm going to go back to my previous point, which I didn't really share, but I'll share in a moment. And that is women that the woman in France that recently said it's the shame on them, not on us. Oh my God, that is that is such a deep, 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 deep thing that we need to heal in this world. And I think women are finally finding their voice, expressing. And I think with this movie, a lot of people, what they were doing is wanting to shut down that voice and that expression, because the woman that is the main character, Lily, doesn't fit this perfect idea of how a woman should be, all sweet and, there's nothing to complain about her or nothing to pick on her. And she's just always very sweet to everyone and just does what she's told. No, no, I think it's on purpose that we don't have the main character be an actress who does that. It is this new era that we're stepping in of women speaking up for themselves, taking back their power, connecting to their confidence, to who they were born to be. Women are natural leaders. They are. You like it or you don't. If you look into most households, who is the one that runs the show or makes the decisions? Behind the scenes is the woman. Not in every single one of them, but in majority of them. Even though they don't have the say, and something really sad is coming up for me right now. I spoke to a few religious women who come from the Islamic faith recently, and they said that they come in last after their husband's family. So it's first the husband's family and then them and their children. But the husband is married to them, and they're the one who take care of him and basically everyone. But they come in last. And when that happens, a woman gets sick because she is the one that takes care of everyone, that makes the decisions, that worries about everyone. And also the recent statistic that a woman needs more sleep than a man because of this particular thing, is that she's always more stressed and takes on more than men do. It's her, just the way she's naturally, I'm not blaming men for it. I'm just saying that's the way she is. So the fact that she's not given her rightful place to take care of herself and to make decisions for her family, um in together with her husband, because I think women think a lot more about what their partner wants and needs than I think men do. I think men just say, "Oh, we're just gonna do this," and that's it. They don't take in consideration things outside of their perspective of what they have in front of them. They just go and do this. This is what we're gonna do, and that's it. Where a woman takes in consideration what's around her, really takes the time to do that. And that's very important. And I do think that's another reason why this movie, whoever tried to bring this woman down, luckily they failed greatly. Maybe not fully failed, but they did, because this movie is doing super well. And I hope it continues, and I hope we get to see more movies like this, and I hope we get to see more women stand up for themselves, just like this lady did in France recently, and that we get to create a better world for all of us, for both of us, because we both have to learn and work as a team. There is no such a thing, men versus women, or women versus men, or versus binary, or they. No, we're all on this earth together, and we have to learn to love, to be compassionate, to appreciate, and to value each other, because we all bring something to the table. But one thing that I do want to share with all of you before I close this, which I maybe should have said earlier, but I'm going to say it anyways, and that is Baldoni, I think it's Justin Baldoni, had the opportunity to choose from so many actresses, but he chose Blake Lively. And I don't care what people might say out there, but there's no way he didn't know who she was. Because people talk about character, people talk about, people, especially when I want to hire someone, don't you like call up references? And this person who is deeply in the industry, who's been around for a while, it's not a newbie, he's not a newbie, chose her, right? Yet for some reason, that I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about saying, "Hey, you chose her. You know what you chose. You knew you chose a strong woman who might have some things to work on, but nonetheless she's still a strong woman." And um yeah, I do think that we do need to look at that side of the story. How is he contributing to this drama, you know? Because so far what I have seen, this go fully in his favor, and he's not being made responsible for anything at all. And well, you have as much responsibility as Blake Lively, in fact even more, because I think this is your movie, right? So how come you are getting away completely, um while this woman is being torn down? I just don't get that part. And this is the part that I wanna leave you all with, because Hollywood has so many actresses, so many great actresses, but he chose Blake Lively and her husband. If it's true that um both Blake Lively and her husband were involved a lot more than just in, like her being the character, and I think she's the producer, her actually directing and her husband actually helping direct this movie. Then I think Justin Baldoni knew who he chose to be the star of the movie, and he knew what he was going to get out of it, and he probably got even more than what he thought he would, because the movie is doing super well, or maybe he thought that he was going to do super well, right? Nonetheless, um, we also need to focus on the deeds of the woman, of the good deeds of this woman, not just the bad ones that are surfacing right now, because that's what we would do if it was a man in her situation. And I can give you an example. Recently, we had a boxing match, and no one talked about the horrible past that this now retired boxer um has has right, because he's still around, and no one talked about it. They talked about the glory of the man. What a glorious man, right? And if we have a woman, hmm, no, we don't do that. We bring the dirty laundry first. And then, if we ever get to her accomplishments, to her contribution, um, again, nonetheless, Blake Lively, you have a lot to learn and grow and heal. So I really hope you do that. And that next time we see a movie of yours, it's even more powerful than this one, because you're capable of that. And I can't wait to watch another one. Okay, Jupitines, we are ready on December 24th, which means tonight. Well, I would say tomorrow night because it's past midnight, but officially we're in December 24th. um, I want to wish you a beautiful Merry Christmas. Also, Happy Hanukkah because it starts the day after. And specifically for the people who might be spending this alone, um, I'm sending you all so much love, a really big hug. And I want to tell you that you are not alone, ever. You have your angels with you have God with you, and if you do the work, your personal self actualization, self healing, designing your own life, personal development, whatever you want to call it, you will get to a place where you have the right people by your side and you get to live the life that you love. And when you look back, this will just be a memory, a life lesson, an experience that you might feel like you had to go through to get to where you got to, where you got to, because life holds incredible things for you. Hey, Nathan. I'm sorry that you came in a little bit late because I'm ending this live now. But Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Bye.